Alright everyone, last Unconnected Marketeers video for now. I have successfully achieved Lunatic no deaths. This is the first game in the series I've ever gotten Lunatic no death on. There are other games where I could potentially have done it. I just never bothered to grind for it because I don't like no death because you can't make any mistakes, right? Like one slip up, your whole run's shot. If it's no bombs, you can make mistakes and the run's fine. So I used the drum there to guarantee a stream turn, get more items. Just it refuels before I would need it anyway. Anyway, the reason I went for it in this game is not just because there's an achievement for it, but also because there are cards that make the task significantly more doable. In particular, my loadout that I went with is Aaron's Death Avoidance Elixir? Yeah, Death Avoidance Elixir. Which negates any hit at the cost of 2 bombs. If you only have one left, it takes only the one that's left. So ultimately, I thought that was a pretty good choice. Like, it means I can get hit. But now, if I'm using my bombs, I don't need my bombs for dealing damage or survival. So if I'm not dying and I'm not bombing, the Centipede, which increases your damage over time, all the way up to a 1.8 times maximum multiplier, as long as you don't die or bomb. The moment you do either of those things, the multiplier resets. So if my bombs are being used to keep me from getting hit, and if my lives, well, they don't matter because I'm not losing any, Centipede is just a no-brainer. And that left one card slot open. I had a couple of choices here, but I thought that Raiko's Thunder Drum was just the best choice for me and my playstyle. It effectively, in this case, just acts as a flash bomb that clears everything around you. Has a really fast reload time, like 10 seconds or something. And 10 seconds is fast. Like, it's not fast enough to spam, but it's fast enough to use multiple times on a pattern if it lasts a while. And quick enough that if you get into one bad situation... Oh, this was the one where I got crazy dodges there. Nice. That you can probably have it reloaded by the time you would next want it. Cards I was looking out for in the shop. Well, funny story about this run, actually. I think I found a glitch where if you buy a character's card in their shop and then just hit retry after that, like in the next stage or whatever, then what will happen is, like, that character's card will not be available in their shop unless you go back to the menu first. Which is a shame, because I had wanted to get Maneki Neko with Good Fortune here. I was specifically planning to, but it wasn't there, so I couldn't buy it. And that was just to try to mitigate RNG. Because there is quite a bit of luck involved in what's available at the shops. Because a lot of things are just not useful if you're not dying. The main things I was keeping an eye out for were Money is the best lawyer in hell, which I never saw in attempts. Would really love to see that. Patchoulie's Spell Before the Fall, which gives you another bomb every stage, which in this case converts to an extra hit every stage, which is just a really good thing to have, honestly. Kiketsu Matriarch's Threat, which makes enemies drop more gold. I was hoping to be able to combo that with Money is the best lawyer in hell. It would give me like 8 extra hits or something in total, which would be more than enough considering how close I was on many attempts. Anyway, I haven't even been talking about the gameplay here. I've kind of just been letting it go while I talk strategy. That's because the first 2 stages in this game, even without cards, are pretty straightforward, really. Like, most of my card usage here has just literally been, I am drumming because the situation is a little scary and I don't want to get hit. In basically every case, I would be perfectly fine without it. I'm just using it for a consistency tool. I think there were other cards I was looking for, but the ones I listed were the main ones I was hoping to find. I ended up finding a card that I hadn't actually used yet at the end of this stage, which probably saved the run. Like, obviously I purchased it, but I didn't really use it, because I don't use a lot of actives. I've been underwhelmed by most of them, but this one was good. Anyway, Takane is a very straightforward fight. There's really nothing dangerous in her fight except for her final. I mean, her second spell is a little scary, but the nons are easy. This first spell is easy. Um, it's just a very straightforward fight. I almost got hit there, though, because I was being a little not careful. Anyway, the reason my true innermost forest region is such a free capture is because I have the drum. It'll recharge before I could ever think I need it again, and it just gives me a completely free capture combined with the Centipede damage boost, which is slowly ticking up here. It's about halfway charged, and the Centipede is honestly a big part of what makes a run like this possible for most people, I think. Most people who would be willing to go for it, I should say. Because without it, like, you are so at the mercy of stage 4 and 5 enemy tankiness. Anyway, I ended up buying Clown Piece's Lunatic Moon here because there wasn't a better option in the shop. And I was like, I can probably get some use out of this. I mean, my bomb stock is full because I bought a bomb at the end of stage 1. So a life wouldn't be useful. I'm at max power. Like, more money is just useless. I have so much. So I bought the moon. I think the other thing I had available was Esteemed Authority, which is Miko's thing, which basically just clears a ton of bullets on the screen. I have been consistently underwhelmed by that from the moment I first tried it. It's not like it's bad, it's just underwhelming. It has such a huge recharge, it's so expensive, and the effect is just not that good. Anyway, I got sniped by one of the stray side bullets here, which I was a little annoyed about because I think Sanyo is a terrifying boss in pretty much every pattern. Non-spells especially. I drummed in the corner, and so this means that I might as well try out the moon. So I try to use the moon to block the bullets. It ends up a lot thinner, and it's like, okay. And I get the non-spell. Because the moon actually does a decent chunk of damage. Like, it's not a ton, but it's a decent chunk. So at this point, I've now consumed effectively 2 bombs. Or like one stock of the Death Avoidance Elixir, if you could think of it like that. And at this point, like, consuming 1 is like average to good. In fact, it's better that I consume it at the mid-boss rather than later, because now these bomb pieces from this section end up going into my stock instead of being just wasted into the ether. Obviously, I went for this with Reimu. Like, I've been using Reimu this whole time for this, because her homing is... the homing is already good in stages, but if you just add on any sort of damage boost to that, like the Centipede here, like, that homing just destroys stages. It's ridiculous how much harder every other character has it. And this is, I think, even true even without damage boosting items. Like, that homing is just... Like, even Sanai is, like, Suda homing. Like, you miss Reimu's. Anyway, I arrived at Sanyo here. 5 2/3 bombs, which is 3, maybe 4 hits. Now, I elect to use the moon immediately. I still don't really know what the best way of using it is. And it kills the first non. So that's good. First non's usually pretty scary. I've hit enough things with the Centipede that a delayed drum here, plus the Centipede, kills the card just before it gets dangerous, which I knew from some past attempts. But it does force me to dodge the second non on my own, like on my own terms. So I still don't really know what a good strategy for this is. I'm just literally sight reading it and hoping for the best, but it worked here. Easy spell here. With the damage boost, it's easy enough. With the drum available, it's just even easier. Third non, I think, yeah, I elect to drop a moon on it, just because I don't want to take any risks on it. I can usually do it, but I have the moon, I might as well. And then the final, Mountain Queen of Massacre. It got a little scary while I was streaming it the first time, and Sanyo ran away, but this card is really not terrible. It's literally just streaming through garbage, and especially because she moved up, the pattern was much easier than it otherwise might have been. So I ended up buying a bomb because there was nothing better in the shop, even though a third of it got wasted, which is really funny. But the other reason I did that is stage 4 in this particular loadout is actually kind of brutal. And the reason for that is there are no resource cards dropped by anything in the stage until the very end. So this is why I really wanted to get Money is the Best Lawyer in Hell at some point, because even though it costs 140, I would have 2 stacks of that, and those would get hit before my bombs, which would end up putting me in a very good situation resource-wise. It would effectively just give me 2 more hits, and it would give me even more hits later on because stage 5 gives you so much gold, and this stage gives you so much gold, and stage 6 can give you a decent amount. I was a little careless in how I handled the killing here. Ideally, you don't want to have the fixed spawn happen around the same time as one of the, like, it spawns after a fairy you killed, or yin yang I should say, because they're not fairies. This yellow spam section is still really hard. I used the drum in the one place where it started getting dicey, which also not only clears everything around me, but also gives me enough time to look ahead and read what's coming. So it not only gets you out of a situation, but it also lets you just reset your reading position. This yin yang is still complete nonsense. I got just walled in the corner, and then I had to do a little bit more corner dodging. But my actives refill, and I figure that I should be fine. I elect to just drop both because I see the timer is still going. The moon just flies off screen if it doesn't hit anything, but I know I can go to the top right and I'm safe until the end. And so I'm feeling really good about this because I think my best run before this had 1 hit left at this point, maybe 2 when I lost it in this blue section, which is honestly even harder than the yellow maybe. But I made it through the blue section, so now I'm fully 2 hits ahead of my next best run. Like the majority of my attempts at this either ran out of, like, I either restarted because I took too many stupid hits, ran out of hits on Sanyo because I messed up, or in most cases just face planted Misumaru. But because I know that Misumaru is going to be scary, I'm already thinking ahead a little bit for how I'm going to use the moon, because this is the first time I'm really using the moon, to help me with Misumaru. So I have no idea what anything's going to do. Also, I dropped the life piece there because I don't need it and I want to kill the enemies faster. Yeah, I'm thinking about Misumaru here, because with the Centipede at max power, none of the non-spells, or I should say the first 2 non-spells, are complete non-threats, but her spell cards, the second one is a gimmick card, but the drum beats the gimmick. But the first one here, Yin Yang Divine Orbs, is very scary. The drum kills the small Yin Yang, so I was surprised that the moon didn't. I was kind of banking on that. But the pattern died anyway because the moon did enough damage. I think I would have been okay there. But even if I had to use the drum, because the drum would have refilled through this non-spell, and I would have been able to use it for my strategy here. Which this took a few tries to develop a strategy for, actually. I even went into TH crack just to specifically try the drum on this. But pattern dies, and we move on to the third non. Which is a little scary. I could definitely easily get hit here because it's very hard to keep track of the reds and the wave, but I managed it. And then Yin Yang Suffocation. This pattern is actually a little insane. The moon clears the big Yin Yangs here for some reason. Maybe I just used it too soon on the first card. I heard the sound, I was low on health, saw the Yin Yang's about to hit me at the end, and just use the drum. So this is fine. I'm actually sitting here really happy. This is by far my best run. I'd only made it out of Misumaru once, and I had no bombs left. I have 6 here. The best option available was the Shed Snakeskin Amulet, which gives you one of Sanai's snakes. I figured this was a pretty good choice because it does boost Reimu's damage, and in particular, this is damage that I will always get while focused, basically. Which you really can't complain about getting more focus damage, especially if it's hard to stay under the boss for a certain attack. So the stage portion, as long as you keep on top of killing things, which is pretty easy to do with a max power Centipede, this stage is a complete breeze. Without a max power Centipede, or even without any attack boosts at all, this stage is pretty brutal. It's never unfair, but it's pretty hard. Like I like the stage quite a bit. So I decided I was going to just drop a moon on Tsukasa here. And just see what happened. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of clearing or damage. I probably should have delayed the moon a little bit. Yeah, pattern dies before I have to do anything dangerous. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't want to do that because Tsukasa is much less dangerous than this spam section. But again, I have a max power Centipede, so everything just dies. And I'm Reimu, so I can actually keep on top of killing everything. If neither of these things are true, these yin-yangs go really far down the screen, and you can absolutely just deal with stuff spawning right on top of you. It can be very hard and get so out of hand. But yeah, as I said, this was only the second run I'd gotten here, so I don't really know the stage order. I did run through both stage 5 and 6 once with max power Centipede using TH Prac again, in order to just see how it would go. In both of those runs, I got hit only one time using only the 3 cards I started with. So I felt, given that these stages both give resources in terms of some bomb pieces, I felt very confident in being able to clear if I could just get here. Unfortunately, the first attempt getting here, I face planted Megumu. I just made dumb mistakes. I did that here too, but it ended up working out. Anyway, this part, I got a little greedy at one point and tried to point of collect. I think, yeah, here. And then I decided it just wasn't worth the risk. And then one last Death Fairy at the end. This was an easy enough Death Fairy, but I used the drum because I don't need it for Megumu's first non, and I might as well just cancel it. And so I arrive at Megumu with 3 hits of it in stock, which is not actually a lot overall. Like, you could so easily consume all of those to a couple stupid mistakes. So even with this loadout, like, not dying is not free. However, Wild Dance of Star-Sparked Wildfire is free. Between the Centipede and Sanai's snake giving me a little extra damage, it dies in 9 seconds before it can even get started. Second non, normally really scary. Drum, it's not scary anymore. Second spell, Wild Dance of Dazzling Iridescence. This is a fun pattern. It's probably one of the first laser-focused patterns I really like. It's pretty and it's fun to dodge. It sometimes gives you really bad waves, but I found you can almost always find a way out. You just sometimes have to move way up the laser. So I tried to moon this, and it didn't really work the way I thought it would, and so I redirected it very poorly. And then I trapped myself on the side of the screen, but it dies. I was getting ready to try to drum it and get out, but instead I have the drum for Clear and Tranquil Wind and Moon, which I used to cancel the first wave of stars. I do have to dodge the second wave of stars, but the pattern dies before I have to do anything else. And I get out of Megumu without getting hit once. Yeah, what I ended up taking at the end of stage 5 was Megumu's card, Tengu's Barley Rice Balls. And the reason I did that, there were 2 main reasons for it. One is that it can give me an extra third of a bomb, just on demand. And this is a pretty nice effect in this case, because it also lets me control if I'm at 2/3 of a bomb when I get the last one. So if I'm at 1 2/3, I can wait until I get hit and saved by the elixir, and then I can just use the Barley Rice Balls, and now I have 1 bomb. The other reason is because it's a screen clear around me, which is just always a good effect. The whole reason I took the drum is that it's a screen clear. Now, the Rice Balls have a much larger cooldown time, but having just another screen clear doesn't hurt. Anyway, the stage portion is very straightforward with Reimu, especially because of her homing and my damage boosts. Like, there's really nothing to it. I elect to use the moon on Tsukasa again. I figure this will just destroy her and I don't have to worry. So here goes the moon. I didn't have to dodge anything else, which I wasn't expecting. but I was very pleased with. Tsukasa in Stage 6 is actually a bit threatening. The rest of the stage is just moving around aimed stuff while Reimu's homing deals with everything. Reimu really does win by doing almost absolutely nothing. Um, and so I end up arriving at, or I'll end up arriving at Shimada, assuming everything goes according to plan, with the maximum stock of 7 bombs, which I get this bomb piece, and I have the maximum stock of 7 bombs. Like, you cannot carry more than this in this game, which is a lot, but also, it's only 4 hits. In my mind, I am a little nervous because it's only 4 hits. I don't have much room for error, and this is especially for a final boss I haven't practiced because I still don't like most of this fight, honestly. So I take a moment to collect myself, switch to the drum, skip the dialogue, and drop a moon on the first non. It doesn't kill it, but it kills it fast enough. I changed my plan because I remembered offering to the owner list will come up and give me enough time to refill the moon. Because the moon's charge time is high, but it's not that high given that this is basically a 40-second survival to kick off the fight. Also, the reason the replay FPS has changed is because I had to use THPrac's replay fix to change the starting item in stage 6, and so the replay would actually sync, and I had to fast forward the whole replay to get there. Anyway, this was a really scuffed capture, but it was a capture. Second non, I switch to the drum and do a little dodging, cancel that the crisscross wave, Danmaku Hoarder's Obsession. Card's a little scary. I throw a moon at it, and then I cycle back to the drum. Drum plus everything else kills it before it gets dangerous. Third non. I only have 1 screen clear left. I use it, and then I get hit immediately. Danmaku Free Market. This card is only scary once it gets going, and you just have so much damage it doesn't get going. Fourth non. This one's just... I remember this one as the fast one, but I guess aside from the opening red wave, it's not very scary. Rainbow Ring of People. This is still the freest survival card in the series, and anybody who says otherwise is wrong. It's even more free with the drum, I found out this run, because even though I've never failed to capture this, except once in spell practice on Lunatic, after I said I've never failed to capture it, and I just goofed the end. I just laughed it off. The drum recharges so fast that you can use it for each stream turn, and as long as you can just know where to stay, it's just a free capture. So at this point, you might think, oh, this is just guaranteed, right? There's nothing to be scared of here. I have face-planted bullets on Inhumane Bullet Dominion more than enough times, and Asylum of Danmaku is a scary card. So, Moon at the first crisscross wave, switch to the drum at the second crisscross wave, it dies. There's no way Asylum of Danmaku will hit me 4 times. Especially because I know how to do this starting strategy. Dies at a bit of a different time than I was expecting, obviously, because I have so much more damage. Second phase dies before it gets dangerous. Third phase, Shimada runs away, so I end up using the drum to cancel everything around me, and the Barley Rice Balls to do the same thing, and it still ends up dying. You can see how fast the drum is at recharging, though, because I actually get it back, and the pattern dies before I need to use it anyway. And I end up getting the clear and unlocking the final achievement in this game. So I can say I have truly completed Unconnected Marketeers. I think I will revisit this for extra no-bomb, reasonable cards, which I'll figure out later. But yeah, in a technical sense, this is a Lunatic no-miss, no-bomb run, which is just wild to me that I have that. Obviously, the cards absolutely carried this run, Like the only thing that didn't pull a ton of weight is the snakeskin amulet, but even that, like even that pulled its weight. So, uh, yeah, I hope that was fun to watch. This is, uh, as I think I said at the start, like the first time I've gotten a lunatic no death run, and even if it's only more of a technical one, and this is by far probably the easiest game to do that in, it's still pretty cool to have done it, and it's definitely not an easy feat. Even taking all of that into account, like the margin of error is still fairly low. Yeah, all that said, thanks for watching.